What's up guys? Welcome back to another video. Last time you saw me was out on the track, if you've been following along of course, where I said to myself, right, today's the day, doesn't matter what happens, you're going to send it. You're going to send it for 400 meters, you're going to run 400 meters relatively fast. It may not be the fastest you could do it, but in saying that, you've actually never pushed yourself for 400 meters before. So, I mean, the last thing I wanted to do was injure myself or make the nagging injury that I'm dealing with still any worse. But I did want to send it, and send it I did. Did I expect to get the time I got? No, I didn't. I thought, honestly, if you had have asked me, I thought that I may have gotten somewhere around about 104 to 105, but that's simply because I'd never done it before. Now that I have, on little to no food, and a bad mood, now that I was able to get 1 minute, 0 seconds, and 60 milliseconds. How do you say that? 0.6, 1 minute.
Nick minute.
So I actually don't know how to say it, but basically it was 0.6 of a second over 1 minute over 60 seconds. So 60.6 seconds, put it that way. That was my benchmark. That is my benchmark. So where do we go from here? Well, the series is not over. I could have possibly lied to you all and said that I just snuck in under 60 seconds. And, you know, if I had given myself 5 to 10 minutes of recovery, probably 10 minutes of recovery, and done it again, I may have, you know, been able to go out just that little bit faster, hold on, and get the goal, the major goal, which is to run a sub-60-second 400 meter at 34 years of age. But I want to continue these videos for a little bit longer, and I want to build up to that final race day. I know what it feels like now. I know what that monkey on the back feels like, you know, down the final straight. I know what it feels like when people are around watching you perform that final 100 meters. And but looking back, it probably wasn't as hard as what I expected. So what that says to me is that I've still got some in the tank. I've still got something in the tank. I've still got something to work with in the first 100 meters. Someone in the comment section did mention that, you know, I went out too slow, which I did. But in saying that, I wasn't really aiming to go for a sub 60 on that day. I just wanted a benchmark. Was I surprised at getting so close? Yeah, I was. And has that filled me with confidence moving forward? Yes, it has. So what I need to do moving forward is work on my start, work on getting up to top speed as soon as possible, and maintaining 90 to 95% of my max for that first 100 meters. Moving into the second 100 meters, I feel like it's just about maintaining that. Moving into the third 100 meters, I read something on Reddit, because I've been reading some forums at work, just getting some information, getting some inspiration, some motivation, and some insight especially from other untrained athletes, untrained people that are going for certain goals, such as a sub 60-second 400 meter. And I read something that said, right, get through your first 200 meters in the fashion that I've mentioned. And as you hit that 200 meter mark, put down 3 really heavy, fast steps to pick yourself back up. So at that 200 meter mark, if you have been cruising, so to speak, at 90% of your max, which I don't know how you call that cruising, but cruising, and even if you have sort of got complacent and let yourself slow down just that bit, once you hit that 200 meter mark, slam your foot down, and those next 3 steps are all about getting yourself back up to speed. I'm led to believe that will sort of just, you know, boost you into that third 100 meters and boost you around the bend. And then once you get to the 300 meter mark, it's all about holding on. So, where do we go from here? What's next on this channel? What is next in this video series? The video series will not be over until D-Day, which is race day, which is the day that I put all of my knowledge, all of my training into practice and try and hit a sub 60 second 400. Will I be satisfied with a 59 something? No, I won't. Will I be satisfied with the 58 something? We're getting there. Will I be completely, totally, 100% satisfied for forever and a day with a time of 57 point something? Yes, I will. Is the goal going to change from a sub 60 to a sub 58? No, it's not. So moving forward, I'm going to get down to the track and I'm going to work on my starts. That'll be one session. I'm going to do 10 200 meter distances, trying to get a time of 28 seconds or less with a 5-minute rest period in between. That's going to be my second track session. Then I'm going to go for some 300s in a time of something like 45 seconds with a full recovery between. Maybe 5, maybe 6 of those. And then following that, I think I'll be ready for race day. Now, race day could come within 2 weeks, unless I go ahead and aggravate this injury that I've got, which is still there. Now, I will say that I was, full of so much adrenaline going around that track that I didn't actually feel it at the time. But once I got in the car, once I drove home, I did start to feel it. And I don't exactly know where it's at. It's not, I don't know, it may be my Achilles tendon, but it's certainly, it's around that area, and it's tender, and it's especially tender when the heel of my foot lifts towards my calf. It's within that Achilles tendon type area, heel, Achilles tendon, side of my ankle type area. It's very, very hard to pinpoint, and I'm probably not going to be able to diagnose it myself. I've tried. I've got a fair idea, and from what I've read, it's all about just resting it. I rested it for a week and a half. I went down, I ran 400 meters, I trained legs. Now I'm going to rest it for another few days, and my next session, you will see, the next video you'll see on this channel will be down at the track once again, practicing my starts. So going from 0 to 50 meters, and I'm not going to be looking for any particular time. All I'm going to try and do is just get that 3-point start down pat, which I did not use in my 400 meter attempt. But if I can get that down pat and I can get away really nice and quickly, and move through the 100, move through the 200 meter mark in under 28 seconds consistently with rest, I feel like I've got it. I feel like I've got it. So the next 2 sessions are going to be really, really important. They're going to hold a lot of vital information for me moving forward. I feel like to know what it takes to get through 200 meters from a standing start in 28 seconds or less, that is going to teach me a lot. I'm going to need to get through that first 100 meters in 14.5 seconds. The second 100 in 13.5 seconds. The third 100 in possibly 14.5 seconds. And then the final 100, let's say 15.5 seconds. And I'll do some quick maths for you. That would be a 58 second 400. So 14.5, 13.5, 14.5, and 15.5. Now let me just check that, because that sounds all right. That sounds feasible. It sounds as if that may actually be the times I eventually aim for. So let's go 14.5 plus 13.5 plus 14.5 plus 15.5 equals 58. There you go. So that is, I mean, that could well be what I'm looking for as far as my training. So if I was going to do some hundreds, I'd be wanting to consistently do them in 14.5. If I was going to do 200s, that's 28 seconds. If I was going to do 300s, that would be 42.5 seconds. And if I'm going to do a full 400 on race day, we're going for 58 seconds or less. But the goal remains the same, a sub 60-second 400 meter at 34 years of age, and the overarching goal remains the same, which is to get in the best shape of my life, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and all the rest of it by the time I turn 35. I'm going to do my absolute best. I'm here for it, you're here for it, and if you are around that age group, you know, it really doesn't matter what age you are. Age is just a number. I am trying to prove that to myself and prove it to the world. I'm doing that through making these videos, documenting my journey from here into middle age, as much as I don't want to admit it, and beyond. Where will we end up? Only time will tell. But I'll say it again, and I'll continue to preach it. Age is just a number. And if I can do it, you can do it.